Today, more Americans are dying of overdoses than ever before, and this is the epicenter of that crisis.
We're on the pace to have 800 people die this year due to overdose in our county.
What's the percentage of the bodies that are in here right now that are overdose deaths from heroin or fentanyl?
We are averaging 60 to 70% of our cases now are overdoses.
Do you know anybody that's died?
Yes. My boyfriend and my mom just died in January.
You going through withdrawal right now?
Yep, pretty much so.
Here we go. Open the door! Open the door!
Do you guys mind explaining to me why we gotta put these masks on?
The short answer is if you breathe it in, you could die.
You said you have a nickname for this street.
Morgue Avenue.
Morgue Avenue.
It's not Morgan, honey, it's Morgue.
You literally just walked in to cash a check, and by the time you came back, your brother had gone and come back and got in an accident and then told the paramedic that he was on fentanyl.
Yeah.
What's it like to go through this?
Hell. Hell. Every day it is hell.
Welcome to Montgomery County, Ohio, where thanks to a drug so powerful it could kill you if you touch it, police work isn't what it used to be.
Why is a sheriff's deputy that's supposed to be fighting crime driving around with a heroin antidote?
We don't have enough EMS units for the overdoses. When we first started doing this, it was one every 2 weeks, and then it gradually worked its way into one every week, and now we're into 3, 4, 5 a day. I could probably look on my computer right now and there'd be 3 or 4 overdoses on there right now, somewhere within this county.
It didn't take very long.
The deputy said that there was a car accident here. You can obviously see that with the minivan here and the pickup truck. And they took one person out of the vehicle who they say had a 1,000-yard stare, was out of it. And so now he's in the back of the ambulance here.
He's my brother.
Okay.
We just lost our dad to an overdose.
You lost your dad to
Yes.
an overdose?
I come outside and there's an accident.
Okay.
And then another officer comes up and tells me that he said that he took 2 caps of fentanyl.
Fentanyl, okay. Okay.
And I don't know I wasn't even in the car when it happened.
Do you use yourself?
No, not
Nothing.
at all.
Anybody else in your family hooked on heroin or
My other
fentanyl?
brother,
How many brothers you got?
3.
3?
I've tried my whole life to keep my family sober. Literally, I was so
How bad do you think the problem is in Dayton?
sick.
Can I ask you a question? Did you think your brother was using?
When I first picked him up, no.
Not today.
Not today when I first picked him up.
And when was the last time you thought your brother was using?
About 6 months ago. He was supposed to be on the Vivitrol shot.
Yeah, and it's supposed to last like for a month, right? At
Yeah.
least. You literally just walked in to cash a check, and by the time you came back, your brother had gone and come back and got in an accident and then told the paramedic that he was on fentanyl.
Yeah.
What did he look like?
Oh, his eyes were glossy. You can barely open them.
What did he say to you? Nothing.
He loves me.
He said, I love you. What did you say to him?
I love it too.
What's it like to go through this?
Hell. Hell. Every day it is hell.
Traditionally, opioids like heroin are made from opium poppies. But what's ravaging this community is made in a laboratory. Over the past 2 years, fentanyl, a synthetic opioid that can be thousands of times stronger than heroin, has been flooding into places like here, Montgomery County, Ohio, where the overdose death rate has been skyrocketing. Through just May, overdose deaths in the county almost hit last year's total, and officials estimate this year's final number will double that.
Some people say that Montgomery County is the epicenter of the opiate crisis in America now.
Yeah, per capita, we're #1 in the nation in overdose deaths. We're on the pace to have 800 people die this year due to overdose in our county.
Yeah, because when I think of if I'm a Mexican drug cartel and I want to bring my product into America, I'm going to the big cities. I'm not going to Montgomery County.
Yeah, it's kind of strange why they picked us out, but I think mainly our location. You know, our job market's tanked. We lost all of our automotive industries. So our overdose age, the average age is between 40 and 49, and that's your primary workforce. And I think it's driven by a loss of a good job. You know, they're bringing in jobs here paying $13 an hour. Well, people can't make ends meet with $13 an hour. So people, I think they're depressed, they're self-medicating, and they don't know what they're getting when they buy a gel cap that they think's full of heroin. Now we're having people overdose on fentanyl because it's so much stronger than heroin, and then some of these people think they're buying heroin. Well, these dealers are mixing fentanyl in with it, or they're giving them straight fentanyl, and that's killing people.
The first opioid of abuse was prescription pain pills, including Oxycontin. But in response to media attention, access to pills was restricted, and in their place came heroin made from Mexican poppies, cheaper and more powerful. A couple of years ago, traffickers began mixing fentanyl into the heroin.
Yep, that's him. I'm getting in the car.
And fentanyl is by far the most fatal drug of abuse America has ever seen. So fatal that relatives of users are calling the police to try to keep them from overdosing. I saw him right here. Look at the thing right here, and he's scooting right this way.
This is just a warrant.
One guy.
Who the complainant told us he was using heroin at the time and would like us to come and arrest him on the open warrants to keep him from overdosing.
They thought he got away, and as we were leaving, we saw him run through the backyard again, and now everybody's on the hunt. All of this for a guy they suspect of having needles on him.
Problem is, he could be in any of these vacant houses.
And that's the thing. This is a neighborhood filled with abandoned homes.
Yeah.
So you live around here? Mm-hmm. You said you have a nickname for this street.
Morgue Avenue.
Morgue Avenue.
It's not Morgan, honey, it's Morgue.
Which houses have people died in?
What houses have they not died in? Really?
Really?
Really. Look at all these places, man. I mean, it wasn't like this 4 years ago.
That's when you moved in here?
Yep. I mean, I clean up the neighborhood and I gotta wear these big old thick gloves and stuff because of all these needles and crap, It's unreal.
As the death rate skyrockets, the bodies come to the Montgomery County coroner, Dr. Kent Harshbarger, who performs tests to detect over 24 varieties of fentanyl.
So this is what you call the cooler.
This is our cooler, our main cooler.
When did the bodies that are all around us come in here?
Over the last probably 24 to 48 hours.
And every day, bodies are cycling through here?
Correct. These trays will mostly be full by tonight.
What's the percentage of the bodies that are in here right now that are overdose deaths from heroin or fentanyl?
We were averaging 60 to 70% of our cases now are overdoses.
So 70% of the people that are in this room died probably of fentanyl?
Correct. That's correct.
If you could extrapolate from the numbers that you see here in Montgomery County, how many people across Ohio are going to be killed by fentanyl this year?
For our system, we cover about a fifth of the state of Ohio, and we're estimating about 2,000 overdoses this year. If that continues, so that's about 10,000 for the state or more.
10,000 for the state?
For the whole state.
And that sounds like a national number, 10,000 overdose deaths from fentanyl.
Correct. Our last number for 2016, Ohio was estimating 4,000 overdoses, and I believe we'll at least double that, if not 2.5 times more this year, if this trend continues.
I just saw a doctor walk out of the autopsy room towards the cooler and do this. Like, what is that about?
All right, well, that's probably his fourth case today.
Fourth case of the day?
Of the day, yeah. He's tired. We're all tired.
When you think about the fact that there will be, by the end of the year, 12,000 people who have died from fentanyl in Ohio, how is that not a mass casualty event? That is multiples of 9/11.
Oh, it is a mass casualty event. And actually, with my friends in Cuyahoga County, we've actually been trying to put some pressure on the state officials to declare a health emergency. This is no different than some kind of mass casualty event in any other form. It's just a medical event.
A medical emergency?
I believe so. It needs to be recognized that way to bring some federal assets to help us.
Coming up, the face of addiction.
If any of your family or your friends catch this on TV, what do you want them to know?
That I love him. But I'm sorry.
Once the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office comes into contact with people who have overdosed from heroin or fentanyl, part of their job is following up in neighborhoods like this. It's something normally a social service office would do, but there literally aren't enough people to help. Why are you knocking on people's doors after they overdose?
Well, we're the heroin capital of the world, and
He doesn't want you having her house on. Man, get your get the down the road, dude.
hey, Nicholas. Okay, there's other neighbors out here. I tried to come over here.
That's all the more reason.
And you can't yell like that.
I'll do whatever I please, all right?
Can I talk to you for a minute? We're just trying to give him some services. We know that he overdosed on heroin last week, and we're just trying to get him some help. We're not here to be mean to him. We're just trying to help him deal with his addiction so that he's not another statistic. So we don't come back here and have to take him away in a body bag.
Another recent overdose victim was just around the block.
Did you overdose, Christina?
I didn't overdose, my mom did. I had to watch her though. So I went through a little bit of the scene with her. I had to see her.
And do you use also?
Yeah, I use also. Yeah. I'm trying to get the help myself.
So your mom, who's in the car here, overdosed, and did she overdose in the house?
She overdosed over here, actually, in the field, and we had to get her back and call the ambulance.
Right here across the street?
Yeah, yeah.
When was the last time that you used?
Yesterday.
Yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
And how many times a week would you say you're using?
Well, you use every day when you're on heroin. You have to.
Every day?
Sick. Yeah.
You seem very clear-headed about this.
Yeah.
How do you stay so focused on getting help?
Just my kids. I have kids. I have 5 little ones that I don't want having to go through this. They're going through things because of what I'm going through. So.
5 kids.
Yep.
Who are you in the family?
I'm a great aunt. I have 2 of the youngest kids that were born addicted.
You're taking care of the babies?
Yeah.
And they were born addicted?
Yeah. This is CJ.
Hey, CJ.
This is when they said we'd never do anything. He was
What's
born
up, buddy?
32 weeks, really addicted. Went through.
At 32 weeks?
Yeah, 32 weeks.
So you're
He's still in therapy, occupational therapy.
You're a hero, bud.
Yeah.
What'd you get, McDonald's? What do you have?
Never give up.
A toy? That's awesome. What do you have, chicken nuggets?
And this is Cameron. He was born at 38 weeks addicted.
Hi, Cameron.
He's still having some issues they haven't figured out yet.
What's it like for you to see this family going through this?
It hurts because Chrissy really wants to spend time with her kids, but you can't do that while, there's still active drug abuse going on.
You think there's drugs in the house now?
No.
You're saving these kids' lives, huh? Just on a personal level, you've been in this job a while. What's it like for you to see your community going through what many people outside of this community call an epidemic?
I worked the road when we had the crack epidemic, which was very violent, but it wasn't to this extent where people are dying every day. So it's very sad where you see mothers dying, leaving their children behind. Our children's services, they have 250 children right now they can't place with foster parents. They're that much overloaded with the demand.
It's not easy to get addicts into treatment, but the Sheriff's Department provides a form of detox in their jail.
This is one of our female dorms where a lot of these inmates are going through detox right now. So we try to keep them all housed together so they can take care of each other, some peer-to-peer support, because the whole detox process is just very nasty and it's rough on them.
And so most of the women in here are going through some kind of withdrawal right now?
Yeah. Ladies, how are you?
Hi there. What's your name?
Kara.
Kara? How did you find your way in here, Kara?
I was coming here to get drugs.
You traveled here to pick up the drugs. Why?
Because what you pay for $5 here, you can sell for $20 where I live.
So you were using and selling?
Yeah.
Are the drugs stronger that are coming from here?
Yeah.
They are?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anybody that's died?
My dad.
Your dad died?
Mm-hmm. In January.
In January. Sorry.
It's okay.
How many people that use know somebody that's died?
Everybody has to, at least, probably. I bet.
Everybody.
I guarantee it.
Everybody knows somebody that's died in here? Yeah. Yeah?
Somebody died 10 days ago.
10 days ago?
She got released from here, went out on the street, used, and she passed away. The fentanyl's killing everybody.
It's killing everybody. What are you doing in here?
Actually for traffic and possession.
Trafficking and possession of?
Well, fentanyl, heroin.
Fentanyl.
Yeah, that's fentanyl, yeah.
And were you using as well?
Yes.
How many years have you been using?
On and off 8 years.
7 and 8 years.
I've been clean 1 year, and then 2 years I was clean, and went back a couple times. And not no more though. I'm done.
Do you have a family?
Yes.
Kids?
Yes. A grandbaby, so I'm done.
Your grandma?
Yes. Yes. They're too precious to be now, so no more.
What's your name?
Heather.
Heather. How long have you been here?
Just today.
Just today. You just got here?
Yep.
Anybody ever tell you you look like Kristen Stewart?
No.
What brought you in here?
Coming from Indiana to here to get the drugs and wrapped up.
What were you using?
No.
Fentanyl.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you just got in here, are you going through withdrawal right now?
Yep, very much so.
Can you describe for me how you feel right now?
Like crap.
Like crap.
Yes, I have no energy to do anything. Hot. At the same time, I'm cold. Uncomfortable. Whole body hurts.
Sounds like a pretty crappy feeling.
Yeah.
Have you felt this way before?
Yeah, I've been through it before. It's not fun.
And what do you do when you feel this way?
Stick it out. It's usually when I'm in jail.
When you're in jail. Otherwise, you go use again?
Yeah.
How long have you been using for?
About 4 years, 5 years.
Non-stop?
Yeah.
How old are you?
29.
29. Do you have a job?
No,
Do you want to stop?
I don't know.
You're not sure yet?
Right now, no.
Right now, you want to be using?
Yeah.
Do you know anybody that's died?
Yes. My boyfriend and my mom just died in January.
I'm sorry. If any of your family or your friends catch this on TV, what do you want them to know?
That I love him. But I'm sorry.
When you look at that and you compare it to other times here, where does it rank?
Oh, that's the worst I've ever seen it. You know, usually you get 5 or 6 girls in that are sick. Look how many of them were in their beds, under their covers. You know, that was the worst I've ever seen it.
And when you go in there, I mean, it's just mentally, for me, it's mentally overwhelming to think about, there's just one room in here, but you got thousands of people across this county that are exactly the same way.
Yeah.
So for you, what goes through your head?
Well, you know, luckily they've been caught, they've been arrested, so hopefully we can get them into treatment and get them some help. But as you're hearing, if they don't go into treatment, they're going to go right back to using the same amount they used prior to getting in here. And that's when they overdose and die.
Here we go. When we come back, the daily battle to take fentanyl off the streets. Unlike the meth, crack, and pain pill epidemics, the fentanyl outbreak is killing people at rates never seen before.
Put this in perspective for me. In relation to the murder rate, higher or lower?
Much higher.
Traffic deaths?
Much higher.
So just about any category that you look at, there are more fentanyl deaths per capita than just about any other cause of death.
I've never had one particular cause of death that reaches 70% of my workload. It's unbelievable.
You overdose, all the other addicts go to that dealer because he's got the best product in the street.
Even if the guy died?
Yeah, even that's what they're looking for. They're chasing the next best high. It's a strange business model how you kill your clients.
Your customers, yeah.
Your customers, yeah.
Fentanyl is so deadly, it's causing deaths at mass casualty levels. And taking it off the street is more critical than other drugs because any dose of fentanyl could be a fatal one.
We're at the office of the Montgomery County Sheriff that deals with the trafficking of heroin and fentanyl that's coming into the United States from Mexico. They're about to brief on the search warrants that they're going to serve today.
Most likely it'll be a car-to-car deal.
Today, the task force is going after street-level dealers, hoping to find out who their suppliers are so they can track them down too.
I think it might be my first time putting on a bulletproof vest.
Well, you keep doing this, it won't be your last.
Yeah.
We'll get the chopper up and then we'll start following our target around. After we follow the target around, hopefully we get him pinned down enough to make an arrest. What's up, man?
An undercover officer meets with the informant who's going to buy the fentanyl from the dealer. He gives the informant a wire so the task force can track him.
Check. McCoy to all units, we are rolling.
At the same time, the team's eyes in the sky keep watch on what's happening below.
So Captain Brem and these other officers are inside this car right now listening to a live wire on a confidential informant. The buy is underway. What we're waiting for is the call to actually go in for the raid.
Yeah, there he is right there, next to that SUV.
The buy goes down in a McDonald's parking lot. Afterward, the undercover officers meet up with the informant to retrieve the drugs he bought from the dealer.
You guys be safe.
Yep. You got a glove or something, dude?
In the back.
All right, that's
Also.
Free fight comes up on Slim Avenue.
Fentanyl, yep. Pretty sure it is, yeah. Looks like it.
Once the informant's off the scene and the undercover officers have the fentanyl, the rest of the task force now moves in to try to arrest the dealer who's driving.
That's him then, huh? So we're passing him. Yeah, this guy on the left. And that blue Kia.
The dealer fakes out the task force by stopping at a green light. They lose track of him, and he doesn't get arrested until 2 days later. So they send the confidential informant out to buy from another dealer.
No, there he is right there.
Who shows up at this deal on foot.
That's gonna be him. Just grab him. Just grab him. Let's just grab him. Here we go. Put your hands behind your back.
I'm gonna guess this is the dope that he was gonna sell.
Now somebody's calling him right now.
Yeah, it's been blowing up.
So you think that could be another deal trying to go through?
Good chance.
And we don't know yet if that's heroin or fentanyl.
Correct.
But that could potentially be deadly.
Oh yeah. And the scary thing is you can absorb it through your skin.
And that's why you wear these gloves.
Yes.
What are you going to do with this guy?
Right now we're going to hold him. He's giving us some information that we're going to use later on and possibly go get his supplier.
So you're going to follow whatever he had back to the place he got it from.
Yes.
And you think that guy's an ounce level dealer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's our ultimate goal, is to climb the ladder and put as many guys in jail and as much drugs off the street that's killing people. That's our goal.
Is that it right there? Yeah. That's what you guys got in the field?
Mm-hmm.
So what is it?
Fentanyl.
It's fentanyl.
China is the primary source of fentanyl in the United States, and most is shipped to Mexico and smuggled across the border by drug cartels. They pick Montgomery County because running through it are Interstate 70 and 75, what law enforcement calls the crossroads of America for drug trafficking. A couple hours later, they locate the mid-level dealer, pull him over.
The guy just came out of the car. They're searching him now.
All right, so this is the guy, they got him right here. They busted him with about a half an ounce of heroin fentanyl. We're not quite sure yet till they test it in the lab, but the idea is he's going to jail tonight, and we're about to go raid the house where we think that these drugs came from to see if there's any more drugs there.
We're hoping after talking to him that there's several more ounces of fentanyl inside the house.
Several more ounces?
Yeah. So we're getting the search warrant signed now, and then we'll have the entry team load up and go serve the warrant.
It's over 12 hours after we first showed up at this building for our first briefing. We just had another briefing and are about to go on our third bust. We're all piling in this thing. Rapid deployment vehicle. Here we go. This looks much more serious than what I've seen earlier today. How come?
Definitely. Just the risk is a little more. Obviously, we're going into a house we don't know much about.
You expect to find more here than we've seen throughout the course of the day?
We're hoping so. We're 30 seconds. So.
30 seconds? There's the house.
Go, go, go. Open the door! Open the door! Out the door, get now! Mark war! On the ground! Brother,
You see any narcotics yet?
There is narcotics, yeah.
Whoa.
Yikes.
Do you guys mind explaining to me why we gotta put these masks on?
The short answer is if you breathe it in, you could die.
If you breathe this in, you could die?
Oh yeah. If you touch it, you can absorb it through your skin and kill you.
Just eyeballing that, what does it look like? How many ounces? 13 ounces?
Yeah.
Is there any way to calculate what this means in terms of lives?
There's approximately, a rough estimate, maybe 360 grams here. Each cap contains 1/10 of a gram.
And when you talk about lives, people, what do you think?
Well, 1/10 of a gram could certainly kill you.
Oh yeah. Less than 1/10 of a gram could kill you.
A couple of grains of that
is enough to kill somebody.
It's hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your reaction to seeing this right here?
It's a good day.
Good
Yeah,
day.
good day. Getting a lot of fentanyl off the street. Basically, you're seeing a lot of lives saved right there.
After the break, the main drug smuggling route into the United States. Every single day, 50,000 vehicles, around 20,000 pedestrians, and untold loads of narcotics make their way to the other side.
Where is all this fentanyl coming from?
It generally comes to our southern border, which is Mexico, controlled by a cartel, and then up to Dayton area.
So the Mexican cartels are bringing fentanyl into the United States through the southern border, and it ends up in Dayton, Ohio.
That's right.
This is the San Ysidro port of entry. It is the busiest land border crossing in the entire world. Every single day, 50,000 vehicles, around 20,000 pedestrians, and untold loads of narcotics make their way to the other side. What's the biggest threat coming through these borders?
It's everything. We're looking at everyone. We're looking at illegal narcotics, heroin, methamphetamine, cocaine, fentanyl, all entering the border.
In the San Diego sector, which includes the San Ysidro port of entry, seizures of heroin have tripled since 2010. Last year alone, almost all of the 359 pounds of fentanyl seized at the Mexican border were taken here. And meth seizures have more than quadrupled. That's one of your agents that stands out here, is specialized to look for suspicious activity?
Exactly. What he's looking right now is looking at the spare tire. The spare tire here, potentially looking for any tampering, any kind of anomalies. Once he sees something, he'll then initiate contact with this driver.
So literally physical conversation, talking.
How you doing?
The DEA says most narcotics entering the U.S. are driven in, hidden in vehicles through what Mexico's drug cartels call plazas, metropolitan areas with legal border crossings. They're also all areas with a border wall. This gentleman was detained in a drug case as he was passing through the port of entry. Right now, he's obviously under arrest and he's on his way to face justice. The next step was to search the car he was driving. So what we're looking at right now is this vehicle was pulled into secondary screening here at San Ysidro at the port of entry, and it got a positive hit from the canine, from the dog, and it appears that in the dash is some sort of narcotics that have been hidden in the vehicle. So now they can actually tear this car apart to see what's inside. They're tearing apart stuff in the engine area right now, and if you actually take a look inside here in the passenger seat where the dog got a hit for narcotics, they've pulled out the glove compartment, but nothing yet. Looks like they found what they're looking for after cutting open the cowl right there, the upper part of the engine below the windshield. They started to pull out these bags of, I guess we don't know what they are yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them so far. 6, 7, 8, just keeps coming. I'm just looking at how many packages you have here. It looks like 3 deep. He's cutting through these packages with just a knife. It looks like he's getting a little sample of whatever the drug is on the knife, and then what does he do? He puts it on some kind of scanner machine?
He'll take a little sample out of the package. He'll put it on a testing equipment. The testing equipment will then give us a reading of potentially what that drug is.
You know what you've got there?
Yes.
What do you got?
Methamphetamine.
Methamphetamine. Is that a normal load?
Yeah, so for us, hard narcotics are trending, in particular heroin and methamphetamine. The packages are getting a little bit smaller for us. The number of them have increased, obviously, because the packaging is smaller in order to put them in deeper concealment in the vehicles.
What happens then with meth that I've personally seen surging across the border?
Yeah, they're flooding us with meth also. They have super labs in Mexico making meth, and we're getting about 10 kilos of meth per 1 kilo of heroin. So they're trying to change the market, and I don't know if it's because they're killing our customers with fentanyl, but they're flooding us with meth all of a sudden.
Is this all you're going to get today?
I would say if I were a betting person, no, this wouldn't be all that we get today. So I would say we could get up to another 5, 6 loads today, and that wouldn't be abnormal for us.
Why, if you're a cartel, do you want to send drugs like this through a legal port of entry where you could cross with your passport?
On a yearly basis, we're going to deal with 75 million travelers coming across the border. Drug smugglers feel there are opportunities to mix in with the general population who are vastly compliant with what the laws are.
So translation, they think they could sneak it by you.
Right.
Next, the people who make fentanyl. I am interested in getting fentanyl sent to us in the United States. Everybody that's died in this county, you're storing their blood samples for a year?
Correct.
So when you talk about a mass casualty event, this is one of the best ways to see how many people have died.
Correct, actually, and we've purchased more storage, as there's so many blood samples now we have to store.
Whoa!
So these cases here are actually our current working cases.
So these are just active cases?
These are active cases.
And every vial represents somebody who's died?
Correct.
when you look at this, you're desensitized and it looks like you're in a science laboratory, but they represent it's human beings.
Every one of these cases is somebody's loved one. That's correct. It's passed away. And 70% of these are overdoses. Of those 70%, over 90% of these cases have fentanyl. Smoke it, inhale the powder, or inject it.
Shoot it, yeah.
Figuring out what causes an overdose death in Montgomery County requires lots of forensic work. That's because the coroner's office has identified over 24 types of fentanyl killing Ohio citizens. But where these varieties are being manufactured is not a mystery.
They can order it from China, and they'll mail it to your house.
So you're telling me people actually are sitting at home in Dayton and they're going on their computer and people are just getting mailed packages of fentanyl?
Yeah. Yep. Typically they mail them to a vacant house, which we have plenty of, but they can mail order it from China.
Back at my desk at the NBC News Los Angeles Bureau, we decided to put that to the test. The main supplier of fentanyl is China, and while Chinese officials tell us that they've been cracking down, it still seems like it's relatively easy to get here in the United States. This is Mitch, this is Arnie, the two producers I've been working with on this story, and we're just gonna try. What do we do? Where do we go?
Why don't we use Google?
Okay, so Google what?
Buy fentanyl.
Buy fentanyl. Okay, here it is. Well, the first thing that pops up at the top is buy 3M furin fentanyl online from Ching Labs.
This is interesting here.
What does it say? Fentanyl has been growing in usage in the United States within the last decade. It's a highly potent opioid that's been linked to thousands of deaths. Overdose from fentanyl is problematic, especially when it's included as an adulterant in street heroin in order to increase potency. So they're basically acknowledging what we saw on the street.
Right. They're basically saying, we sell stuff that kills you. Do you want some?
Do you want some? Okay, so my name, we've come up with a fake name. Say Richard Stevens. I am interested in getting fentanyl sent to us in the United States. I live in California. Is that something you can help us with?
Yes.
Think that works?
It works.
Thanks. Richard. Submit. Let's talk a little bit more about what's on this website.
Okay. Chinese laboratories.
So Chinese laboratories are largely responsible for the upsurge in availability of illicit fentanyl in the United States in recent years. This was addressed recently by the Chinese government, who introduced a ban on export of fentanyl. In a move typical of these clandestine labs, a modified version was then marketed to be sold. So they acknowledge that they know exactly what this stuff is doing.
Right.
Basically, it's not just going to Mexico and then being smuggled across the border. You could go on this website and ship it here directly.
Yep.
I got an email. And then, just a few minutes later, whoa, the email already came through. Hello, we have a very potent fentanyl analog, very similar in potency to the original. We ship to USA. We only accept Bitcoin as payment method. Warm regards.
Wow.
Yeah, 4 minutes ago it came through. We sent the email, what, 10 minutes?
Yeah. 30 in the morning.
What time is it in China right now?
So it's 3:30 in the morning.
3:30 in the morning in China right now. Is it possible to get it to me without it being taken by U.S. Customs? Okay, they, here we go. They emailed back again.
How long is that?
3 minutes. We provide a reship guarantee. Also, we ship using ingenious packaging. My name is Sarah. Nice meeting you, Mr. Richard. Smiley face. Warm regards. That is customer service.
Wow.
Okay, so next question. Ingenious packaging?
Yeah.
That is great news.
Sarah.
News, Sarah.
What kind of ingenious packaging?
Yeah, or can they send us pictures?
Yeah, can you send us a picture of the packaging?
Would you be willing to send me a picture of the packaging? All right.
10 minutes.
10 minutes later, we got a response. Oh, there's the pictures!
Wow.
Okay, please find attached. Please note we have new fentanyl analog. Yes, name 3MAF. We often change packaging styles. No, I haven't been to California before, anywhere in the U.S. Smiley. Sorry, my connection very slow sometimes. Warm regards, Sarah. Okay, check this out. This is the package that the fentanyl comes in. And this is the box that they ship it inside. Wait, I can zoom in, I think.
Yeah.
There it is. All right, so that's what it looks like. Wow, that is amazing. How much would a kilo be for our initial order?
Yeah.
Send. A few days later, we again heard from China, this time from somebody other than our pen pal. Even though fentanyl was supposedly banned this year in China, we know it's still flowing into the United States. So we asked our colleagues at the NBC News Beijing Bureau to ask China's Narcotics Control Commission if China's at least in part to blame for all the fentanyl deaths in the United States. Here's what they said.
你很难说这个问题是中国造成的，所以这个问题的时候，另外来说，就像我所说的是。
So what he's saying is it's hard to say it's purely China's problem. He says there's plenty of blame to go around.
Plenty of blame to go around. I mean, fair enough, there is plenty of blame to go around. But look at this, just 4 days after we first started talking to our friend in China about ordering fentanyl directly to the United States, they gave us the pricing for a kilo, $10,949 guaranteed. So if it gets seized at customs by the Americans, they're going to resend it for free.
Damn. What'd you say?
What'd I say back?
Yeah.
I said, it's the 4th of July, can I get back to you? Because I don't think I should order fentanyl directly to my office. It's probably the best bet for now. We never went through with our orders, so we can't confirm whether or not Qing Labs actually ships fentanyl or if it's just a scam. But the DEA tells us that some mainland Chinese companies sell fentanyl and other illegal drugs online. Chinese officials claim they're cracking down on the deadly drug, but it's still showing up in the U.S. directly from China. Every international piece of mail that enters the country is subject to search by customs. And in Los Angeles, this is the facility where certain packages get extra scrutiny.
Because as e-commerce has grown, e-commerce is one of the contributing factors in the volume of us making sure that we examine mail from China.
So China's sending us our iPads. They're also sending us a fentanyl. You can say that, right?
Yes.
As part of this story, we've been emailing with China, a particular laboratory in China. I asked them to send us the picture of the packaging and what the shipment comes in. We were talking to them about ordering fentanyl directly to the U.S. Right. Is that something that you might see, a box like this, in which there's a package like that?
Similar, yes. We examine those packages like that. But when they dump mail from China, as you see through e-commerce, it's a range, there's a large variety of legitimate.
Well, it's consumer protection.
Exactly.
You don't want an airbag that's defective. You don't want eyeglasses for the eclipse, and you don't want people ordering fentanyl through the mail.
Through the mail.
So what are you looking for right now? Anything?
Stuff that's dense, something that's really thick, that could be a powder form.
And this looked like it was a dense powder form, potentially?
This is actually like a vial.
Oh, it's a vial.
And it's
Steroids. The agents here are looking for all types of illegal drugs coming from China. Steroids, ecstasy, date rape drugs, and now fentanyl. Have you ever come into contact with fentanyl here?
Yes.
What does that look like?
It looks like any of these other white powders. It's scary stuff.
Why is it so scary?
Just because of the amount of damage that a really small amount can do to a person. Obviously, we have families. We all want to go home to our families.
So you're cutting open what you think is fentanyl.
Right.
You've seen packages that look like that before?
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Now a laser shoots through there and breaks down what the chemical compound is, basically?
Right.
And this sample was headed for somebody's house in Southern California.
Yes.
And it goes off to the lab and we find out when? End of the day or tomorrow?
Hopefully by the end of the day.
If that was fentanyl.
Right.
It turns out this time it was an illegal sedative, not fentanyl. But with Chinese manufacturers continuing to make and ship variations of the drug, there's no telling what the next package will bring. I got an email that I want to ask you about. This is from a woman named Sarah who is from this Chinese company, Qing Labs. She said, "Hello. The last few days we had some technical problems with our website. Now everything is resolved, our mail is working properly, and all orders will be fulfilled." Not if you have anything to do with it, right?
Exactly. And my officers too.
Up next, the long road back from drug use. This is your mugshot?
Yes.
Whoa.
Ugh. It just looks like death. I feel like I should be on an episode of The Walking Dead as a zombie.
What were you using?
No.
Fentanyl. To help addicts and their families, in Dayton, there are support groups like Families of Addicts.
We're scared. We're lost. We don't know what to do.
Well, you come to the right place. The question that I was asking myself is, are we helping or hurting? And by we, I mean us families who know things about addiction and recovery.
The group is run by a mother-daughter team.
How did this all come about?
Well, the way I say, I have my 11 years of my own recovery from alcohol and other drugs currently, but that didn't prepare me for when I found out that April started using heroin.
Your daughter?
Yeah. And I didn't know what was wrong with her, and I saw the marks on her arm, and I said, what is that? And she said, you know what that is? And I was like, I had no clue.
I felt like she knew that I was using drugs, so I don't know. I mean, like, what else do you say? She kind of like made a scene. But I think I was like 16.
She'd walked away from help. She'd stolen a lot of my stuff. I do remember asking her, can't you just not do it for one day? And she's like, no, it's not like that. And I'm like, well, then how is it? And so she like let me into what her life was like, and it was really educational. So I wanted to bring that education to other families.
It's so scary.
Tawny Watkins attends Families of Addicts. She says she started using opioids in 2008 after the birth of her first daughter and has been in and out of treatment and the county jail.
So you've been clean for over 100 days?
Yes.
How'd you do it?
I actually fell out and quit breathing, so that scared me. That's never happened to me before.
When you say you fell out, what does that mean?
I stopped breathing. I was taking fentanyl and heroin. As soon as I shot it, I stopped breathing. That scared me, so I checked myself into rehab.
Nearly every day since then, you've been in some kind of program.
Yes, that's like what I eat, breathe, and sleep treatment. I have a sponsor through Narcotics Anonymous who I call every day if there's any problems or I have any like cravings or urges to do anything, not just necessarily with drugs. I just got a house with a couple friends. I got my job back. Just getting back on my feet is very hard, but you know, I do it and I talk about it. I share about it in my groups and meetings.
That's one of the big keys, huh? Keep talking about it?
Yes, definitely. If I don't talk about it, that could bring me back out there, like having guilt over, you know.
You got to get that stuff off your chest.
Yes.
Are you comfortable telling me what kind of stuff?
I've been raped several times. Just last May, I was going to buy drugs during the daytime in a bad area, and some guy came up behind me and grabbed me by the back of the head and drugged me into the backyard of an abandoned house and violently raped me. I didn't call the police because I was on probation and on the run. I wasn't checking in, so I had an active felony warrant. But I ended up turning myself in July. Well, when I was in booking in Montgomery County Jail, they did a pregnancy test, and I found out I was pregnant by that person.
From the rape?
Yes. So I decided to carry the baby and give her to a family that couldn't have children, so I gave her up for adoption. So I'm still in contact with that family, but just that situation alone, like the guilt of giving a baby up for adoption, like if I don't talk about that with people and get feedback from my counselors and friends, like, you know, that guilt could cause me to do other things that could lead me to use. It's crazy to know that like one wrong move and I can be right back out there.
This is your mugshot?
Yes.
Whoa. So you remember that day?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I was pretty wasted in it. It just looks like death. I feel like I should be on an episode of The Walking Dead as a zombie. Like, I see someone who's lifeless for real.
In a weird way, when you look at that, does it make you feel good about where you are?
Yeah, like I'm so grateful I don't look like that anymore, and I'm so grateful I got a chance to get back on track because some people won't get that chance.
Staying off any kind of drug of addiction can be a lifelong struggle. But now, with fentanyl, America's deadliest drug ever, there's also a race to stop using it before it kills you.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.